Don't roast me. Staying awake was not an option. I give this a 5 stars. It serves a purpose. I think it's very important. Hello, booktube. Welcome to or welcome back to my channel. My name is Indigo. It's nice to meet you if you're new here. I recorded an intro when I still had the books that I'm reading in this video, but I don't like how my hair looked. I checked out 3 books from the library. I just want to read them without it taking forever, and making these reading vlogs helps me do that. I also like to watch reading vlogs. In this video, I am reading Last Night in Brooklyn by Xochitl Gonzalez, Leave Your Mess at Home by Tolani, Akinola, and The Misconnection by Tia Williams. I've already returned the first 2. Okay, let's just get into the video now. Hey chat, I am wearing scrubs because I was like filming a piece of content and this is like a costume. I used to work at an eyelash place in 2019, so that is why I have these. And I kept them because I'm an actor and I was like, well, you never know. So I'm about to continue reading Last Night in Brooklyn. I'm on page 44. I was reading it like early this morning. I do want a matcha, but I'm almost out of milk and I want to make a waffle for dinner. I could just use water for the waffle, but like it's better with milk. If I look a little groggy, it's because I did in fact fall asleep. I am in my premenstrual phase. I did yoga Pilates earlier. I took a shower, took an ashwagandha gummy, and ate. And like sitting out here and reading at the same time, staying awake was not an option. So I read Xochitl Gonzalez's previous novel last year, Anita de Monte Laughs Last. A very important character in that book is in this book, and also some other characters. So now I'm seeing that this is like a universe, so that's cool. I am enjoying the story, but it's like I keep having to reread the sentences so many times. This is one of those books where like somebody will ask a question and then the protagonist will have like a page of thoughts before the question is answered. But it's also the prose that has me having to like start the sentences over. This hyperactive brain of mine, like I keep getting like my thoughts keep going somewhere else. So how many pages did I read? About 20. I was on 44, now I'm on 65. Well, I have some things to edit now. And it's very hot out here. But this view is viewing. Good morning. So I'm about, okay, well I am on page 119 now. It's been a few days since the last time I vlogged. I'm enjoying this so far. It's gotten easier to read. I think I just had to get used to like her writing. Something I noticed, like I don't know, I'm like into like spirituality and like quantum physics and stuff. I always have the strongest synchronicities when I read a Xochitl Gonzalez book. I mean, this is only my second one. Okay, so when I read Anita de Monte, I was at the time watching Ugly Betty, and there are numerous like uncanny similarities between Raquel and Betty. You know, like they both Latinas in New York. The craziest one was how like when Betty was dating Matt, the billionaire, or the billionaire's son, at the same time Raquel in the book was dating a rich young man. Their moms, like each like of their boyfriend's mothers, treated Raquel or Betty the same way, and then they both had the same hair color, like they both had red hair. I was like, now I'm reading this and it's syncing up with like things that I'm watching. Like I watched She's the One last night. Now in the beginning of this book she mentions like cobblestone streets being difficult to run on in high heels, and I didn't have like a good image for that. Like I didn't have a good reference for that. Obviously I've seen cobblestone streets before, but just like I didn't even realize they had those in Brooklyn. I've been to New York once. That was 10 years ago, so And we did not go to Brooklyn. We stayed in Manhattan. The hotel was in New Jersey, but we explored Manhattan. Anyway, I'm watching the movie. I didn't even know that movie was set in New York before I clicked on it. Now I'm seeing the cobblestone streets and I'm like, oh, that's what she was talking about. Okay. And then I think that's it. But like, that's what I'm talking about. It's that kind of stuff. The synchronicities. And of course I had to set the vibe with this New York jazz house mix. I finished the first book of this video. I feel like I hate like giving like negative reviews because as a creative person, I know like it just takes so much to create anything. I just don't think that book was for me. I'm not really the biggest fan of her writing style. In a nutshell, decenter men, I think was like the biggest takeaway from that story. It's just like repeatedly we see how a woman putting a man at the center of her life and that leading to her downfall somehow. It also took like a very like unexpectedly dark turn. Yeah, not to spoil anything, it did take a dark turn and I was like now I'm depressed, like okay. It did lighten up at the end, like the last couple pages, but like I just feel like I could have just not read that. And I'm sure, you know, there are people who love this book, but I guess it's just not for me. But I really need to use the bathroom now and wash my hair. And I'm really excited to read the next book. Hopefully I find Leave Your Mess at Home a lot more entertaining. So yeah. I didn't add any ice because drinking iced beverages on your period is not advised. It affects your circulation, can cause you to tense up down here, and that's not wanted at this time. But it's also like 100 degrees outside, so I didn't want a hot drink, but we can just do just some cold-ish coconut milk. I'm okay with that. So I'm just gonna vlog from this angle because I washed my hair the other day. Well, the same day I finished Last Night in Brooklyn. She's just not really presentable. So I started this yesterday. I really love it so far. All the siblings are like going through it right now. It is literary fiction, so it's less, you know, like plot driven. There's still a very strong story here. Okay, so it's due on Monday and today is Friday. Basically gonna read around 115 pages every day. Today, Saturday, and Sunday. And then I should, you know, finish so I can turn it in on Monday. Today, my goal is to read to page 138, also known as chapter 14. Currently on page 53. But I love this author. I think this is her debut. Like, I love the way she writes. It's very, very relatable. I kind of like predicted something that was about to happen, and then it happened right after I said it. I'm not gonna spoil it, but just one of the characters is like getting ready for a party in the beginning. And then like once we get to the party, I'm like, I bet this is gonna happen, and then it happens. Why was my arm like that? So just know, for a book that's literary fiction, the plot is plotting. Well, I'll check back in and let you know if I got to page 138 today. Okay, y'all. Yeah, this angle is kind of crazy. This is kind of crazy, but okay. Currently on page 87. Learning a lot about like, well, not necessarily learning because the stuff I was already aware of, but they are of Nigerian descent. So they encounter a lot of prejudice and like stereotypes because of their names. There's three sisters and one brother. And the brother, Ola, his wife is Argentine. Her name is Marisol, and they're having a baby. And she was telling him that she didn't want their son to have his struggle with having a name that Americans will have a hard time trying to pronounce. And she said that she still hasn't found a name from his culture that she likes, which is like very disheartening. So yeah, aside from that, he as a character is like, as a man, trash. He did her so dirty, like immediately after that conversation. I don't want to spoil it, but just like, he just did some foul stuff. One of his sisters even described him as like an unlikable person. He is living up to that. It's the second full day of my cycle, so I do not feel like I belong on camera at all. The last book I read and this book have the common event, the common theme of men treating women terribly. As much as like these experiences are valid, it's nothing new, but I'm just so tired of like exposing my mind to that constantly. So I am looking forward to reading The Missed Connection immediately after this, because that'll be a nice way to heal after reading this book and the last book I read. Update, it is Sunday at 7:53 p.m. I said that I would return this book tonight. Definitely did not finish it. I made it to page 170. I don't want to talk about it. I still can't show y'all how I look. I feel a lot better though than I did the last time I spoke to y'all when it was the second full day of my cycle. It's day 5 now. Hey y'all. Clearly I am feeling better. I have restyled my hair. No longer menstruating. Yay! But I did kind of drink some matcha too quickly the other day on like a kind of empty stomach, and then that following night I had like a very scary situation. Very much chest pain, very much I thought it was over, but we survived it. I finished this. Did I finish it by Monday? No, I did not, but I finished it last night on Wednesday. I finished it in exactly 7 days, and I finished the first book in 7 days too. So the title of this video is now going to be something about reading a book a week, because I guess I plan on finishing this in 7 days. This being a Tia Williams book, if you know, you know, 7 days. But first of all, look at these covers, like the similarities. I give this a 5 stars. Super well done. It's brilliant, very in touch. I really love her voice. I just love what she does with these characters. I think my favorite character is Karen, honestly, and Sola. I think I like them two the most. I will say it did take a very dark, very somber turn that I did not expect, that I will not spoil. This is not a lighthearted read at all. This is a very emotionally heavy, traumatic at times story. I had to relocate. So there's this character named Angela. I'm really trying to pronounce her name correctly. Both of the ways that I would have thought it would be pronounced, she mentioned that they're wrong in the book, so I'm like, she's involved with another character named Neil. I don't want to spoil it, but just like the way that story is, that their story ends, I was very satisfied with that. Like, was I a little like, I was disappointed in the character, Neil, but not disappointed with the way the story ended. Not to spoil anything. I don't think that's a spoiler. Ola, I'm glad he made better decisions later on, but like, so I started reading this today, The Missed Connection, 32 pages in, and this is, I think, gonna be a very nice contrast to this book. A happier story after reading those two very traumatic stories. I will say though, right now, I am kind of dealing with some physical anxiety symptoms, and this character has anxiety, so I'm having to be a little mindful of that as I read this. Apparently, Last Night in Brooklyn was like a loosely based on The Great Gatsby. Now, don't roast me. I have never read The Great Gatsby. I think I like half watched the movie. The most Great Gatsby I got for y'all is Young and Beautiful by Lana Del Rey. I played that song out. I just played that song last month because mid-July. I'm really not familiar with that story. So once I found out that that book was like based on that, I was like, well, maybe I would have appreciated it more had I known that and been familiar with that story, but I'm not, and I wasn't. So let me just go back to reading this and I'll update y'all. I probably shouldn't put this on my face.
Yeah, it was their pictures, like, snap. I said that down I was talking.
Good morning. I don't even remember when the last time I vlogged was. I think it was Thursday. Today is Tuesday. I am currently 216 pages in. Wow. And I'm very much on track for finishing this book in 7 days. I got like 110, 108 pages left. I think it's safe to say that Tia Williams is one of my like favorite authors. Her books don't get like 5-star ratings on Goodreads. Are these cicadas too loud? Her books don't get 5-star rating. Like most people call them like easy breezy reads, which they are. They do tend to be like easier, breezier reads, but they're not any less intellectually stimulating or profound. The language she uses is a bit more accessible, but she includes so many like very profound ideas, thoughts, statements in her writing. And it'll be like so seamless, but the overall tone of it is still very light. It serves a purpose. I think it's very important. Everything can't be super heavy and difficult. And this character has anxiety. She has trauma. She is talking about her experience with anxiety on almost every single page. Very much important, very relatable, real experiences without me feeling like, oh, let me put this book down because I feel like emotionally drained. I've only read one Zora Neale Hurston book, Their Eyes Are Watching God, which she does mention in here. To me, Tia Williams' writing style kind of reminds me of Zora Neale Hurston. I don't know if she's like officially stated that Zora Neale Hurston is like an inspiration for her. I wouldn't be surprised. I think the way that Tia Williams like illustrates, describes someone's like inner workings of their mind, I think that reminds me of Their Eyes Are Watching God. Okay, there's a couple things she says here. I can't remember. Okay, I found it. So they're talking about grief for a second, not to like spoil anything. So we know the main character, Sasha, hires a detective to help her find the man from the plane. They're having a conversation and the subject of grief comes up. She tells him being the detective, I once read something interesting about grief. It pointed out that the ocean appears to be moving, but it isn't. Energy is moving through it. That's what grief is like. It moves through you, and you have to let it. Miss Williams. The poetry, like Miss Williams. She says something earlier in the book that that really resonated with me. She says, but she was too focused on achieving some fuzzy, ephemeral goal that she couldn't quite define. And that's just how I feel about myself and my life. I feel like I have a vision for my life, but it's not like super duper clear. I haven't had breakfast yet and the sun's kind of frying my brain. I'll talk to y'all later. Hey y'all. Oh, okay. So I finished this last night on Thursday. So I finished this in 7 days. I give this a 5-star rating because I think this story talks about a lot of important things that I care about and are relevant to me. But I do like how this is part of the universe. Ricky Wilde featured a character from 7 Days in June, and then, spoiler alert, it doesn't really spoil the plot at all, but Ezra and Ricky are mentioned in this book. One of the characters runs into Ezra, and it's implied that Ricky is also there, so I just thought that was wonderful. I feel like I've talked about this book so much this vlog, I don't even talk about it anymore. That concludes another reading vlog. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. I had fun reading. See you in the next one.